name is Kevin Curran, and I'm with APU, and I'm here to interview our AP teachers. So, could you please introduce yourselves and let us know which AP course you teach?
Okay. My name is Vince Nguyen, and currently I'm the head of math department here at APU, and I teach AP Statistics and AP Calculus.
Hi, my name is Lily, and I teach the AP Human Geography course.
My name is Mo, and I teach the AP Computer Science Principles course.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Sinclair, and I'm teaching AP Environmental Science.
Mr. Reeves, AP World History Modern.
Could you share with us what it's like learning in the class?
Yes, in my class, especially AP, we always practice how to incorporate 21st century skills. We always try to look into creativity of not just only the content itself, but how do we use AP or the content knowledge to apply to the real world in terms of problem solving, creativity, communications, and also critical thinking.
So that's great. So you implement the 4 C's in there.
Okay, so the structure of my an average AP Human Geography class, you would normally have a do now question at the start for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, which is taken from the AP past papers, so that you're exposed every day to what an AP exam is like. Then we might have a lecture, which may be a film-based lecture or a student-led lecture, or me lecturing you about the principles for that lesson or the core concept. And then you might do some of your own analysis. So we might look at raw data for the concept that we've learned, or we might look at a case study, or you might try and analyze patterns in a map, for example.
For AP Computer Science Principles, it's a lot of trial and error, because what ends up happening is a lot of times the coding is a language, but you need to learn how to use the language fluently. And you won't be able to do that without making mistakes and learning from your mistakes and finding new pathways of solving problems. So a lot of the problem solving comes from trial and error, seeing what works, what doesn't work, making roadmaps and then executing, and then being able to evaluate the bugs, and then being able to revise and do things better. So there's a lot of critical thinking. And the biggest thing for computer science is to be able to find the best and the most direct path to the end product that you are creating. And so a lot of times the students need to evaluate their options before they even start doing anything. So they have to do a lot of planning as well.
And with AP Environmental Science, it's a very cross-curricular, multidisciplinary course, so the students get exposed to a wide range of topics and skills. So for example, in terms of skills, they work on lots of different projects involving like giving presentations and maybe teaching a topic, or taking the role of a stakeholder to find a solution to a problem. They also get engaged in debates or scientific investigations, completing an experiment and coming to conclusions. So they have to get exposed to the scientific process a lot, which was really important for any student who wants to enter into a science field when they go to university and beyond. And so I think this course really helps to prepare students with the skills that they need, especially anyone who's interested in studying in the sciences, because they get exposed to like biology, chemistry, and also even considering factors like the economic cost or the social implications of a lot of different problems and solutions.
Great.
Well, for AP World History, and I'm sure it's probably the same for the other courses, we are required to follow a syllabus provided by AP Classroom, and there are a few choices, but they're generally about the same. So we have to stick to the syllabus. But the difference between AP courses, by and large, and other courses is the amount of resources that are provided. There are a lot of supplemental resources which some kids can feel is a little bit overwhelming. However, this also opens it up for more diversity in the ways that we teach, in the ways that the kids learn. So, for example, in my class, in addition to the readings, I assign a lot of graphic organizers to help them with skills they need to improve for the actual exam. And I also try to incorporate games and theatrical films to give them more practice answering the questions and also more context. So that it's not just restricted by the AP syllabus, but it's also fun and engaging. I think that's an important part that we should be sharing with students, is that these courses might be harder, but that doesn't mean they're not fun.
Right. Great. And so it sounds like some of the things I'm gathering from what you said, it's a lot of critical thinking, it's reflective learning, and also role playing and trying to bring in relevant situations to the real world and apply it to the classroom learning. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. So you started to allude to perhaps the difficulty of the course or being hard. Can you share with us, like, do you view the course as being difficult, and how can students be successful with the challenges they might face in your course, or any advice?
Okay, so in my two courses, especially with AP Stat and AP Calculus, the skills that the student need to have is, first of all, they need to come into the class with the mindset that, yeah, this course is challenging, difficult, but you have to be a hard-working student in order to do well in the course. And you have to come in with the mindset that, okay, I need to grow as time progresses, and I need to invest my time into study. What we do to overcome the challenges is we do a lot of practice, mock tests, like some of the things that the principal have got in place for them. In addition, we also try to invest some extra time outside of class, just like I will investing time in April on Saturdays for students to be prepared for the exams.
So you give additional booster classes on top of the regular contact time that's through the school
To
day.
build student confidence.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think AP Human Geography course is hard, and the theories and the concepts that you have to learn are difficult, but they're not impossible as long as you're committed and you have an interest in learning about the world and applying those theories to real life. Then it's possible to get a very good grade on the AP exam. Similarly with Vince's course, we cover FRQs and multiple choice questions like every week throughout the entire year. And then we have the AP study hall sessions every week as well, which you would work in small groups and go through FRQs, and we would go through vocab and any concepts in more detail then as well.
Right. So for our audience that might not know what FRQs are, you're referring to free response questions, correct?
Yeah, so with the AP Human Geography test, you have multiple choice questions and you have free response questions. And free response questions need more detail. They'll be like an explain or describe, compare.
Give evidence. So.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
For AP Computer Science Principles, it's actually a special course. AP Computer Science Principles was created so that students from all different backgrounds with any predicted majors can take a class that is suited to teach them about technology and computers and give them enough skill sets to be able to use it well. And so we don't have any FRQs, unfortunately. We have something called a crate test. So in this class, we learn almost everything I'd like to cover, from the internet and devices, hardware, software, all the way to programming with a language called JavaScript. And so what these students do is they learn JavaScript in different stages, and we teach them starting off with easier concepts like variables and getting into much harder concepts, complicated functions, algorithms. And they have to show what they learned in the class through this create task. And so a lot of the AP classes don't have something like this, and this helps display their mastery of the content through submitting this kind of an assignment. And before, it was not collaborative. So before, every student had to turn in their own project. But now the AP College Board has realized that that was not a good strategy. And being cooperative in a task like this actually brings a better product. And students are actually able to submit better functioning apps with more features. And so now I'm very excited because this is the first year they did that, and our product is very, very good. And with these kinds of skill sets, they can use this in anything that they want to do for their future. So they can make a web crawling app to help them do research in college for their research papers. They can do a lot of different things that they can apply this skill set to and be able to be effective and efficient with technology.
And so in terms of the challenges for AP Environmental Science, of course, for a student to be prepared for the class, it helps tremendously if they have taken the required prerequisites, namely biology and chemistry. So someone who has like a strong background and interest in biology and also chemistry is an ideal candidate for taking this class, because we do cover, like, especially the fundamental background in like biology, ecology, and some of the major like cycles of nutrients going through the atmosphere. But some of the other challenges are involved with like taking all of these concepts and putting them together, because as the course builds up, it begins to ask questions like in the FRQs that they're talking about that will incorporate a lot of different concepts from different topics that we've learned. And so it helps the students like look at things in a more systematic way and like teaches system thinking, which is really helpful, but it can be very challenging if it's something they're not used to. So that's why they need to get a lot of exposure to answering these types of questions, or looking at problems in a very like systematic way, looking at all the different causes and effects that can be interacting. So yeah, exposure is a big way to help students like overcome the challenges, and also having them practice their communication skills, because sometimes they might know the answer but they don't know how to communicate it in a clear and concise way. So we're also working on like tweaking the writing and having them be more likely to like receive the highest score possible for the question by just writing in a very clear manner. So that's also a very important thing that they are working on throughout the course.
Well, I think all AP courses are definitely more difficult because there's a lot more work assigned, but probably the hardest thing for my students is mastering the formats of the different pre-response questions, which is just a lot of repetition and practice. That's why we use the graphic organizers. But the courses are for students who may not feel challenged in their regular courses. And a lot of times, students who I would categorize as relative overachievers, or at least achievers, right, or gifted students, tend to feel like they're being held back by their normal courses. So AP courses give them a chance to really challenge themselves and achieve a higher level of academic success, while also being able to compare their performances to international students at university level. In my experience, the AP courses are not as hard as introductory, like 101 university entry courses. They're a little bit easier, but they still give students the opportunity to see if they have what it takes to compete at a higher level. So my advice to those students would be, if you're feeling hesitant about signing up for an AP course, just go for it. You can make up your mind later. You don't have to take the exams, but you definitely need to know, if you're planning on studying abroad, where you stack up against the international competition. And you should remember that you always have the support of your teachers and administrators and the resources that are provided in the AP classroom, all the supplemental resources and all the practice tests and everything, that you will definitely be prepared for the exams, and so you should not feel hesitant at all.
That's excellent. I appreciate you elaborating on that. You know, you don't have to follow any kind of sequence, but if anyone does have any additional advice or you know, suggestions about why students should be in the AP program and you want to share them, feel free to open up.
I think the biggest thing in AP is that there's a lot of self-learn, and I think because the nature of an AP class, there's so much content, and with the amount of time that we have in class, we have to move at a very fast pace. And so a regular class, a teacher, you would come in, learn a new content, and then get homework on it. But in AP class, it's actually you need to prepare for the content the day before, or the weekend before, or the week before, or anything like that. Try to self-learn the content and try to understand it as best as you can, and then come into class and you can master the content well.
So it's almost like a flipped classroom where you're grasping the content knowledge maybe at home, and then you're coming in to class to apply that knowledge. Right? Right.
Yeah, and I would actually, for my course, I would say it might be harder than a first year introductory university course, to be honest. And the part of the reason for that is it does involve a lot more time commitment. Like a university course is often just 3 hours of class time a week with not very many assignments throughout the course. So the main things are like the midterm and the final that will determine your mark, which if you're not used to having a good work ethic, right, when you go to university, it's easy to like maybe get behind on the material and then cram for the test and not do as well. But this, if you've taken AP courses, you're used to this structure of like regular studying, and you're having to always keep up with everything and develop good work habits. So then once you go to university, when that structure gets taken away, you won't like be overcome by like maybe procrastination and end up not doing as well as you should have.
So time management and organization play a key role in the application to work your way to be successful in the AP program.
Yeah.
Great. And those are lifelong skills anyways that students need to develop for higher education. Is there any other comments that you want to make?
One more thing on that. In college, there's a lot of application of content. And unfortunately for AP, they just started doing it for my class for AP CSP, but it's a lot more content-based testing. So the AP exam is known as a summative assessment, just like Rebecca was talking about the midterm to finals in the colleges. But the difference is the AP is graded on a bell curve, and a college class is graded on a class of 30 to 300 students only. You're not competing nationally or internationally. And most of the time, the professors there might ask you to apply the content or ask you very difficult critical thinking questions. But with the AP exam, with the multiple choice, is a lot of just content-based questions. And some of the classes now, they have the FRQs, my class has the create test. They're shifting more towards applying the content. But that's what makes an AP class extremely difficult, is it's not just testing for mastery, it's actually testing for remembering all the content and these facts and figures, and also probably gets much harder for world history too. And so sometimes the students might not be very good at remembering or memorizing the content, but much better at critical thinking. And that helps sometimes, that hurts sometimes. So it just depends on what you're strong in and what you're weak in.
Okay, well, great. You know, your students are very lucky to have AP teachers like yourselves, and you know, the students are lucky to have the offerings that they have at APU. So on behalf of APU, I want to thank you for your time, and on behalf of the students, thank you for your input.